Welcome to the Green Building Show, where we investigate green design and building trends throughout Australia.
Hi, this week on the Green Building Show, I'll be speaking with David Baggs. He's the CEO of material certifier Global Gree Tag. He's going to explain the problem with greenwash and how you can ensure a building material is truly green. Also in this week's show, we'll hear from Victoria Lea, who's going to bring us this week's What's Hot. And I'll be speaking with Phil Harris, our design ambassador, who's brought us his latest Ambassador's Choice. All right, great. Well, I'm here today with David Baggs. He's the CEO of material certifier Global Gree Tag. Thank you for being with us, David.
Great to meet you, Carlos.
So in your opinion, David, what is an environmentally sustainable material?
It's a big subject. Firstly, it has to be healthy, it has to be non-toxic, and it has to not have significant emissions to the environment that are going to create problems, including waste. It needs to minimise its resources. We tend to look at that through a lens called life cycle analysis, which looks at the impacts of a product from the very beginning of the raw materials through all of the transport and manufacturing, maintenance operations, right through the end of its life and its reuse. It's called cradle to end of life.
Okay, great. And you're also the technical director for a database of sustainable products called EcoCert.
That's right.
Can you give us a quick rundown of how the EcoCert and their certification system works?
Yeah, okay. Well, EcoCert is both a database and a knowledge base, so there's a lot of free information there for people to access about how to do sustainable and healthy buildings. And how to choose sustainable, healthy products. It's a place to go to find the products that you want to use in your house, in your renovation. So you go to the database, and under the product search section, you can actually use a few different kinds of searches to find the products that that you're looking for. And when you get there, you'll find that there's a couple of different types and levels of assessment. The first is just a basic listing, which is a very brief. It's been assessed based on public domain information. The second is a verified assessment, which means that we've looked at in detail the health and ecotoxicity impacts of the product, made sure it's safe to use, and verified that the claims that the manufacturer is making about its health and environmental impacts are true and correct.
Okay, so I mean obviously the information you guys provide is very thorough, but how can a person who's doing a renovation benefit from having this information available to them? Well,
I mean ultimately when you're doing a renovation you've got to find products and then figure out which ones you want to use. So in figuring out which ones you want to use, you need to cut through the complexity and find simple solutions that will give you an indicator of which products are better than others to use. And that's when we come to the third category of products I was mentioning on the website, which is the certified products. So products that are certified have been fully independently checked to meet certain standards. And there are eco labels out there where they just provide a label and it's a sort of a pass-fail, and that provides one level of information. But then there's systems out there like Green Tag, which are a rating system. So they will give you a bronze, silver, gold, or a platinum rating depending on the whole of sustainability impact of the product.
Okay, so you're saying you do a full LCA, a full life cycle assessment of each product?
Correct.
Okay.
So not only do we do a full life cycle analysis, but we also look in very fine detail at the health and ecotoxicity. We'll give you an actual number for the greenhouse impact of that product, which is compliant with international standards.
Okay.
We look at the biodiversity impact, we look at the corporate social responsibility impact, and so it's a holistic measure. It's a very complete measure, and it provides you the ability to compare a number of different products and say, well, this one is better than that one, therefore, you know, you can see that sometimes you can even find products which are better than another product at a lower cost. So sustainability doesn't always have to be a matter of the more expensive it is, the greener it is. Often you can find that there are products which do the job just as well, but are greener and less expensive.
Okay, but is it really that simple to just have the two spreadsheets open and say, okay, this one is better than that? Or do they, all materials perform differently in different aspects?
There's always a fit for purpose issue. With our green tag system, we establish that the products meet Australian standards or relevant standards and that they are fit for purpose. With the verified products, it's really up to the manufacturer or to the consumer to determine the fit for purpose. But certainly within the green tag context, they are determined as being fit for purpose.
Okay, well, I guess two things I want to know is basically what are some general principles perhaps without logging onto EcoSpecifier and going through the plethora of information available, what are some general principles that an average person can know to ensure their building is at least somewhat sustainable, or the materials that they choose? Is it the fact that they should be sourced locally? They should avoid cement? Or what is?
The first thing that people should do to make the house as sustainable as possible is to design it in accordance with passive solar principles.
Mm-hmm. But we're talking renovation here.
Yeah, you can't divorce the two. Okay, so even if you might have an existing house, you can still modify that in accordance with passive solar design principles. Mm-hmm. So, and inherent in that concept is the selection of the correct materials, right insulation levels, right insulation types, thermal mass, and those sorts of things. And once we get past that, we talk about window shading, window insulation, building colours. All of those start coming into the materials aspect. At the end of the day, when you talk about issues like health, it's not something you can see. So if you want to choose a healthy product, you can't just look at a product and say that's healthy. You have to look for the information behind the product to determine that. So while you can say, oh well, yes, something which is locally made might have lower transport, it's actually not even that clear, because there's a lot of things that have gone on in this sector, a lot of things that we've latched onto because we thought they represented sustainability and because they were easy grabs. Okay, so things like local transport sounds good, but if it's come more than 40 or 50 kilometres by a small bed truck, it's like taking it from Sydney to Melbourne on a 14-wheeler truck, and going Sydney to Melbourne on a 14-wheeler truck is actually the same as bringing it from Sydney to China on a ship.
Right.
So in reality, the transport distance, you have to go a layer deeper again and say, well, how has it travelled by what distance? And that's when you start getting into the complexity, which is like, well, are most people going to go down that track? And the answer is no. So rather than saying, well, here's the easy grab, look for metrics that have done the studies, put all of that on the counter, and have given you the numbers that reflects the whole of life impact of the product.
Cool. Fantastic. And I guess in your career, what's one myth that you really would like to debunk? If you could have one message to a homeowner or someone who's about to build a home or doing a renovation, what's something that's almost frustrates you that perhaps the average person doesn't know?
Don't take the word of your builder as being gospel. Do your own research, because most tradesmen, most builders, unless they're unusual and highly principled, will actually talk about the easy way out. Now that's not a particularly great thing to talk about in the industry, for the industry, but it's the unfortunate fact. Most people will take the easy way out rather than the right way out, or the way out that you want to pursue. So do your research, figure out what you want to do, and stick to your guns.
David Baggs, thank you for your time.
Thanks.
So Victoria, I hear it's bamboo this week.
Yes, I thought we could discuss 7 things you can do with bamboo in your home in under a minute. So number 1, in the garden, you can use it as a fence, a screen, a deck, a thatched roof. Options are endless. 2, on the balcony, you could use it as an outside table with chairs or even a deck chair. 3, on the floor. Bamboo's actually really hard wearing and fairly price competitive. Could be great for flooring. 4, in the lounge room, a fantastic new product called iBamboo. It's an electricity-free iPod holder. In the kitchen, you can wash up with it, you can dry up with it, you can even wash apples with it. In the bathroom, you can use it as a soap dispenser. And number 7, you can use it to sleep in. You can sleep in it, your families can sleep in it, your baby can sleep in it. 7 things you can do with bamboo.
I'm here today with Light Home Design Ambassador Phil Harris. Thanks for being with us, Phil.
Yeah, pleasure.
And we're here talking about the Creek Chic residence, which is in Torrens Park in Adelaide. Can you tell us, Phil, why did you choose this project for your ambassador's choice?
Okay, so I think one of the issues with lightweight construction, we love it. We think it's the way forward in building for this time and place. But we always have to insert buildings into an existing streetscape in our city so often. And when you're in the plush eastern suburbs of Adelaide, and there's an existing streetscape, and the buildings are anchored to the ground very much, and with the particular topography of the site, it's not surprising that there's a bit of masonry that comes into play. But have a lightweight structure which then is able to fly off from that more anchored masonry to open up to the north and the light and the great informal space that is the private backyard. Well, it's a great balance that comes out of that, really. So
fantastic. And what do you think the architect has done particularly well with this project, Phil?
Well, just in straight architectural terms, it's an absolute joy to walk through the site, enter from that public realm, the more stolid, if you like, public realm, and then enter into these series of spaces that reveal the site, and each space in turn reveals itself, and you can see how it moves on and connects to another, and at the end of the journey is another aspect of the backyard or the site, or the sky for that matter, is really kind of fun. And I think it's a really nicely planned house that way. So it's not big, but it seems to have a lot happening.
Perfect. And what do you think is the most unusual or unique aspect of the home?
Okay, well, one of the things that's going to be give the suburbs a little bit to think about in time is, I say it's anchors to the street and respects that public realm, but also visible in part from the street. Are these raw and natural lightweight materials? We've used timber, spotted gum everywhere, and fibre cement, but both are used in their raw state. So the timber will grey naturally, the soft greys of the fibre cement will stay as they are, and so we're heading for a zero maintenance house here using lightweight materials, and I think the beauty of all the materials in the house is that they are natural materials, and they're going to feel fantastic with the landscape as it continues to develop over time. So it's a lovely soft result will eventuate.
Fantastic. Phil Harris, thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
This week, we've got a question from Simon, who wants to know if we provide an audio-only file of the Green Building Show, so you can listen to it at a more convenient time. Well, Simon, you're in luck. The answer is yes, we do. Simply go to the Green Building Show section of the Light Home website, and directly underneath the video, there's a button that says audio file. Simply click on that, and you'll get the download straight to your desktop. Alternatively, you can subscribe to the Green Building Show on iTunes, which means every week the show will automatically download so you can listen to it whenever you want.